Okay, here we are.
So yes, I think we can go. Yeah, we can start.
Are we ready? Okay. So I've wanted us to have this conversation for the longest time. We're having it on a beautiful day. And yes, I have to toast to you. Is your tea in there? Pour a little bit.
Let me just pour a little bit more.
One of the weirdest things. But I respect your voice.
Please, I'm just asking before. But why I need to come back to this or I put on my watch by and face. Look on back, Kawambo.
So I'm going to do this thing primarily in English for a reason. I'm going to do it primarily in English also because there is a very special section of your audience and your loved ones that sits in Zimbabwe.
Yes.
Yeah. Cheers. Cheers to you. And cheers to Tuku. Cheers. Right. I am so proud of you. I need to tell you that. I am so happy that after everything that you described in the song Nyarara, you can still sing. And that you're finding a new side of what your voice wants you to tell the world. So speak to me specifically about where we are today. Nyarara. Do not cry. Mtukudzi. It's a beautiful song. I want you to tell me, because maybe you can't tell other people, but I'm your sister. Can bribe you to tell me things. I've given you lovely warm water.
He's given me warm water.
And I've shared my inhaler with you. So this love is really strong. Tell me about Nyarara, the real truth and story behind Nyarara. You look beautiful, by the way.
Thank you. The real story, the one I would tell my sister, not people. I was tired of crying. I was tired of being depressed. I was tired of making excuses for circumstances and situations in my life.
You were ever depressed? The world never saw you depressed. We've always seen a very well put together queen that shows up and sings to heal other people. I'm speaking now as the audience, the people that watch you daily. You were this very well put together being. Where's this tired of being depressed, tired of crying thing coming from? When did you ever cry?
Oh, I cried. I cried for years. I cried for years. And I would, perhaps because I'm an actress, I would deliberately, especially going into public spaces, get into character to say everything is okay. Because I was just too scared for people to see the real me and what I was going through. Which I think was unfair. Because everyone goes through. Life happens to everyone.
Were you ever ashamed of being depressed?
I was ashamed. I did not want the stigma. I did not want people to know that I was depressed. I did not want people to know or to see my anxiety in public. So I opted to be perfect Patty. Everything was just perfect in my life. Until I think it got to a point where, not I think, it took a toll on my body, my health, even my voice, by the way. Because many years ago, when I could no longer sing, the doctor said, there's absolutely nothing wrong with your vocal cords, but it's as if your brain cannot register that you are a singer. So paid a lot of money going to laryngologists, etc., etc. And at first I thought, oh, you know what, it's just one of those things, I'll be okay. So I've been depressed, I've been depressed, and I will say I have been depressed. I think it's important for me to say that because every now and then I still do get depressed, but I know how to deal with depression now. Right.
But you have not sunk back into that depression that ended up with you not having a voice.
No, I have not. And also, I did go through counseling, but also, you sort of know the signs also, especially if you've acknowledged it. So when I see that we're going back there, I quickly drag myself out of it. People say when you are when you're depressed, or when you, especially with depression, that you have no control over it, right? I think you do not have control of what it does to your body, etc., etc.
Once it's just shown up and overwhelmed you.
Yes. However, I still feel that there's a part of you where you can choose to stay there or to get help. Sometimes even medication, if it means taking
What
meds.
kind of help did you get with depression? Because when people describe, I mean, I've had, and I'm going to ask you this because, I'm going to ask you this because your peers, some of them in the gospel music fraternity, for instance, will speak up and sing about depression being something that you can just praise it away. If you're feeling depressed, wake up and sing every praise song and the depression will be gone. Did you pray your depression away? I need to hear this because I want to know, do you believe depression is something that you really can just get out of?
I fasted depression away and it did not go. I went to counseling. It helped a little, but it did not go. And what people don't understand, I am a Christian, and I pray to God that people who are in church, for example, who are dealing with depressed people, I feel that they need to be informed so that they can handle depressed people better. I am a musician, and singing in church sometimes, you find people crying, people weeping, and you think, oh wow, the Holy Spirit is taking over. But sometimes what people don't understand is that those people are weeping because they're crying, and sometimes it's important to get the preaching, etc., etc., but you also need professional help. Professional help assists you to get out of it, to know how to deal with it when it happens, and you need professionals to do that. Can you imagine my life? My mother.
Your mother is a psychologist.
She's a
we need
psychologist.
to talk about that. So
Yes.
you're a child of a psychologist.
Oh yes, I am.
So how dare you be depressed? Your mother is everybody's shrink.
I was even hiding it from her. I was even hiding it from her because I thought, can you imagine mom coming from wherever, coming back home, and dealing with this?
Also, you're not a patient. You're her child.
Exactly. And I was even scared to go to some psychologists because I thought, I hope they don't call my mom and say, we were with your daughter, you know? But like you're saying, going back to the church factor, that you can't just pray depression away, right? And having said that, I know people say, God instantly heals you, you know, you can break.
There's nothing too hard for God. I remember the song. Can God?
Yes. There's nothing too hard for God. But people perish because of lack of knowledge. If you do not know, if you're not knowledgeable about depression, you will have serious issues. So what I'm saying is, if you pray it away, you might pray today, right? Fall, rise, and you feel better. 3 months down the line, you might have to go back there if you're not well equipped as to how to deal with depression. You spoke also about gospel artists. Being a gospel artist, singing gospel on its own, some people expect you to be perfect. I mean, on gospel platforms, singing songs of hope, giving people hope. How dare you break down
And be depressed.
And be depressed because you're
your faith is not enough. Or
you're supposed to be giving.
Yeah.
You're supposed to be giving us answers. While on the other side, also getting out of church, society as a whole. Now, the way you've been in the industry for so long, when we look at you, like you say, we think your life is perfect, right? Now, I play along with that. I take the role of perfect Patty because I didn't want people to see that I was going through hell. So I think what prolonged it also was the denial phase of it.
What was this hell?
You mean the depression?
Make me understand it. I mean, depression is a word. To you, what was it? On a day-to-day basis, early in the morning, and you know, I'm not going to go through your routine as a person, but during the depressed phase, what do you do? I mean, I'll wake up, I'll go make my first cup of coffee, I'll drink my 2 glasses of water and take medication because I have to take medication for all sorts of things, and I'll try and get on a bike or a treadmill while watching the morning news, and then my day goes on and I continue to tell the world that I'm okay. In your space, what was it like being depressed for you?
In my space, not wanting to get up. Oh, by the way, it starts the night before. Taking meds because you are, your body is just, you're tense, you are stressed, or you go to spas, it just doesn't help.
You go to spas a lot.
I just love spas. I actually think I'm just obsessed with it. But at that time in particular, there was a time where I'd have to go to a spa like 3 times a week.
For massages?
For massages.
And you would call and you say, my nuts are too big.
My nuts are too big.
And the lady at this Thai place said she can't do anything.
Yeah, she says, too big.
I remember that.
Yes. So because you are in pain, you take something that is strong, over-the-counter medication, because you are in pain and you want to feel better. You wake up tired. You don't want to wake up. Dark curtains. You don't want to speak to people. You don't want to go to public spaces. You don't honor appointments. You are just not prepared. If you have an audition, you are just not ready. You're literally just dragging yourself there because, oh my goodness, what's my agent going to say? You're not going there for you. You're not going there for you. With the singing, you're just not on point. And it's like, we need to pay bills, but look, I'm not feeling this. I just have to do it. That's on a bad day, right? On a good day, you can sort of wake up. I'm an emotional eater, you know that. On a bad day, I cook a storm.
And you'll eat magrinya even when you're gluten intolerant.
Gluten intolerant, yes. But I've learned to, I know the signs.
Yeah.
I know the signs. And like I say to people, if you have to take meds, take meds. There's nothing
Do you
wrong.
take meds? Did you take meds?
I did take meds.
Yeah.
I did take meds. Right.
Prescription meds. So you reached a point where you said, I'm okay with acknowledging and accepting that I'm clinically depressed. Because sometimes we throw around the word depression. So, oh my goodness, you're depressing me, don't say that. But real depression is a lot darker than that, isn't it?
It is darker than that. And I think also, if you... please, everybody excuse me when I keep going my throat, but there's nothing tea can't fix.
I served you, never tell people I didn't do anything.
Yeah. When you're depressed, like you're saying, people don't want to own up. People don't want to accept because there's a stigma, right? Do you remember growing up in the village? That anyone who was sort of depressed, there was no word to say, you know what, it was either you're normal or you're mad. Now, growing up in society and seeing people who have mental illness and getting the stigma or the label of you are mad, you don't want to be labeled mad. You don't want that. So I think acknowledging and acknowledging the fact that you are depressed. I think that was the issue for me.
Did it ever affect your work?
Of course it did. It affected my singing. It didn't affect the acting. The acting was a good space because...
Acting is a healer for depression sometimes, isn't it? It's a bit of therapy.
It's a bit of therapy.
We get to act out.
You get to act out, and it's not you. You are portraying somebody else's emotions. Oh, I love that.
You step out and take your darkness into the character, it helps you along.
It helped me. It helped me. But music, I was exposed. Because when I say, and if you're going through that, it's not comfortable to sing that. Which one?
I can't sing.
It's not even the key of the song.
Give me.
How are you going to make me sing today?
Because as we go along, we must sing. Because when you're getting too deep, you must sing so that I don't cry, so that I can keep you in the corner. Could you go back to that? Because very early on during this stage of your career, if you were singing hush, don't worry yourself with people who are talking about you, who are talking ill of you. Do not repay their bad deeds with more bad deeds. That was early on. And you were well when you were singing such.
Of course, it was well.
When you are in the throngs of depression, are you able to pick up the microphone and sing that song and be okay? Does it hit you at a place where you don't want it to hit you?
I had a tendency of wailing in particular while singing that song, where right at the end I'll be like, because they know lyrics. And for me it was like, okay, I sang it for you, but this time I don't want you to know what's going on, but I'm doing it for
Bring
me.
it back to me.
I'm bringing it back.
Did you do that in Nyarara?
Oh, Nyarara was deep. Nyarara was like, I'm ready to tell the story. I have nothing to hide. It's my journey, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with my journey. I was ready with Nyarara. I was like, I'm not holding back.
What were you ready to do?
I was ready to tell the truth. My truth. In fact, not per se exposing the truth, but embracing my truth and my journey. In fact, it was a journey. I had embarked on the journey, but it was like, I can't be selfish. Being a public figure, it's okay. Because perhaps I could help one or two other people. There's nothing wrong with that. So when Nyarara came up, I was like, let's talk about it. There's nothing wrong. Because sometimes we do not want to talk about it.
So there's Nyarara, the song, which I want us to talk about. And there's the Nyarara Foundation.
Yes.
So I'm going to start at the foundation. Why the Nyarara Foundation? What is the Nyarara Foundation? What does Maduvha hope to accomplish? How can we help the Nyarara Foundation achieve the dream you had when you set it up?
I want, through the Nyarara Foundation, to assist people who are going through hell, to embrace their truth. And
Hell for you being emotional health, depression
health,
and anxiety.
especially people who are dealing with depression and anxiety. I want them to acknowledge and own up and say, this is my journey, and get help. If we could do that, I'm okay.
Get help from where? I always ask, which is the help that one needs to get with that? You know, is that help coming from faith-based healing? Is that help going to be me standing in the front of a church someday and having somebody casting it out of me? Is it a demon? Is that help going to come from me becoming addicted to happy pills? Mm-hmm. Is that help even going to be from a glass like the one I'm celebrating your Nyarara with today?
Help comes in many different ways. I am not a professional psychologist, for example. But through the Nyarara Foundation, yes, we have been speaking to a couple of people who are coming on board, and we're going to embark on, and not only here at home, because as you know, the name is in Shona.
Yes.
Right. We are thinking of Africa, right? Because, and to also assist people, the stigma that we were talking about, right? To assist societies to say this is how you deal with somebody who's going through depression and anxiety. Faith is important. Faith is important. And I still say it's also important for you to be knowledgeable about the sickness so that you are able to do what? To get better help, right? Now, because I know some people now are going to say, are you saying we shouldn't cast depression away? While you're casting depression away, people need to be well equipped to know how to deal with the day-to-day basis. And after casting it, how do they move forward? That's what I'm saying. It's like if you go to a hospital and you get an operation, they give you medication, they give you pills, they say, you take these 3 times a day. Oh my goodness, these sweets, Lord help me. They tell you need to take your medication 3 times a day. If you do not take it, you will not be fine. That's what I'm saying. You see? Mm-hmm. Yes. So that's what we're trying to achieve, to assist people.
Okay.
I'm not saying we will do everything, but we'll do something. It's a drop in the ocean, but it's worth it.
Let us go back to a beautiful place. When did you meet Oliver Mtukudzi? What do you call him?
Samanyanga. Hey. Growing up in Venda, I remember before meeting him personally, I remember one day hearing, "Oh, Toby." I'm like, who is that? You know? And for some reason after that, I began to hear his songs all over. I vowed to myself one day, I said, I'm going to work with that man. The power of confession and power of belief.
Speaking it into existence.
You speak it into existence. You call those things as though they are. I said, I'm going to work with that man. In 2015, I spoke to the manager who I had worked with, and I said, I would like to meet the legend. I gotta be honest, at that time I was like, even if I just sit with him for 2 hours, that's more than enough for me. I don't want much, I don't need much. But truth be told, I did want to do a track with him. Went all the way to Pakarepai in Norton, where he has where there's a center that he established to assist young upcoming artists. I get there, and you know, there are things that I will carry for the rest of my life that he taught me through that conversation that we had. He then said to me, because clearly he acknowledged that there's no one who can fly all the way from South Africa to just come and have tea, coffee. We used to have sadza and amuri.
There was no meat?
There was meat.
Just needed to put that down. Yeah, okay. All right.
So he then said to me, what is it that I should do for you? What is it that you want? I gathered strength, and then I said to him, I'd like to do a track with you. He then said to me, why don't we do 2? And I was like, oh, okay. This is quite interesting. We ended up doing 4, all in all.
Did you release all 4?
No, we did not. And I don't even want to release the others to be honest.
We won't let you.
Maybe later, but not now. I mean, you know personally that Nyarara itself, I called, I said, I don't want to do this. I don't want to release this track anymore. I'm okay.
He did Nyarara without you.
We did it together.
Together.
Yes.
And then this bit that was going to go into a recorded song. What was that process?
So we extracted Nyarara, and then I created the beautiful message.
Okay.
Yes.
You extracted from the live performances that you did together. Okay. Why did you choose Nyarara out of the four?
I don't just sing anymore. I'm not excited about just opening my mouth and talking. It's important to send a message out there. I felt that where I am right now, this is a powerful message, and because I also believe in it. It was not just a beautiful melody for me. It was a song of healing, a song of hope for someone out there. That's why I chose Nara. Number two, I felt, let me honor Dr. Oliver Mtukudzi. It's important to do that. Not only Dr. Oliver Mtukudzi, who died on the 23rd of January, but there's also another legend who died on the same day. And we all know Dr. Hugh.
It doesn't work when you say it like that, because I was going to say Dr. Brian Masekela, because you've got to leave the brow when you speak about Ramaphosa.
He hated the doctor. No, I remember one day when he said to someone said, the legend, and he's like, how about a legend? How about bodies? But also, sadly enough for me, the engineer who recorded the track died last year in October. Boy Manuel Mampogoro. He actually encouraged me to get to studio to finish the song. And he actually said to me on that day, I remember him saying, I'm also gonna die. And I said this at his funeral. He was there, you told everybody, by the way. I didn't think, you know what, I just thought, there he goes again with his talk. Straight after working on just finishing the project, the Nyarara song. 3 weeks later, he then died. So I thought, could it be, because I think it was going to be very difficult for us to work on the song if he was gone. I said, could it be that he wanted me to, I don't know, like, I'm still baffled.
That final gift.
That final gift to say, but it's quite sad for me, you know, to say, in honor of Bomampogoro, in honor of Bo Oliver. But I guess Bo Oliver left me with a legacy, a treasure. Bo Emmanuel he assisted in the process. So yeah.
The song came from a dark place. Where are you today?
I'm in the lights. I'm in a very good space. I am so happy. I am so content.
With your craft, where are you with your singing? Where are you with your acting? Where are you with your other creative?
With my singing, I am real.
What does that mean?
I do not hide. I tell it as it is.
Is there a time when you sang but you were hiding from
us? Of course I did.
When was that?
Oh, I sang Light of My Life and I was not even in love at all.
What else did you sing when
actually,
you were hiding?
Tell you.
Yeah.
No, not Light of My Life. When I wrote to Yemi Fuma, I was in a bad space in terms of relationships. Very bad. Dark hole.
Where were you when you were singing your mercy?
I was deep inside the dark hole.
And did the mercy come through and help you out?
I was not ready.
Where were you when you were singing Cheza Changa, My Light?
I was gathering strength to be bold, but I was not there yet.
Where are you today?
I'm in the light. I am real. I am content, and I'm happy.
You're barefoot.
Oh yes, I'm barefoot. And chalubelela not necessarily meaning being arrogant. It's just, it is what it is. I don't do things for people anymore. I do things because my mother believes in it, and she's happy with it.
Please have a sip of your drink, because I want us to close this off with just you doing the last little bit of Nyarara.
Is that why I'm drinking this?
Yes, so that you don't use the voice as an excuse.
Nyarara. You sing out the frog. Nyarara. Let me do it again. Nyarara. 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 Pumura mitozi.
I shouldn't try this.
You see, now that the frog is gone,
yes,
she stops me.
Yes. Oh, okay.
But it's enough. Yes, it's enough.
All right.
You must go download the song.
Absolutely. The song is available on all platforms. The video is up.
The video is coming out tomorrow, 30th of January.
Here we are. Thank you. Ndinifuna lumwe. Niyadzindela. Mara ndiyanifuna. Niyadina. Mara ndiyanifuna. Singanivuli mkhulu.
It's not a day of singing. It's okay.
Thank you very much. Final toast.
Thank you.
I love you.